In this video, I'm going to give you a word-for-word email template that you can use to send to your interviewer after the interview is done so that you can increase your chances of getting a job offer and show them how excited you are for this opportunity. I'm also going to explain why we chose the words that we did and why the email is crafted in a certain way so that you can customize it if you need to based on your certain situation. And as a very key point, make sure you send your thank you email within 24 hours from your interview so they know that you are actually excited and you are willing to take the time to do this. Okay, so you just finished your interview and you aren't really sure if it went well or if you're gonna get rejected. Either way, you should still send a thank you email because it can only really help your case. In fact, I've actually seen instances where sending a follow-up or thank you email has actually saved a candidate from getting rejected and they got a job offer. And if you don't have your interviewer's direct email, because a lot of companies don't want to give that out these days, then you can always write up your email, send it to the recruiter, and have them forward it on to your behalf. The whole point of a thank you email or a follow-up email is to show the interviewer and the company and the recruiter that you are really excited about this opportunity and you're grateful that they took the time to interview you. Okay, so on the screen here, you're going to be able to see the full email template, which I've also copied and pasted in the description box of this video. But first, let's start by looking at the subject line here. So you're going to want to make sure you're leading off with your full name so the recruiter or the interviewer knows exactly who's sending this email, so you are always top of mind. You can start with a simple thank you, or if you're following up to one of the specific questions that you think you got wrong, or if there was a question that you had to skip in your interview, you're going to want to call that out in the header right at the top. A really powerful and short subject is going to help you stand out from other candidates. Next, as we start off the email, you're going to see that we started with the word hi as opposed to hey. Now, this can be probably a little bit more old school. It doesn't happen too often these days, but I have heard that some people kind of get offended if you start an email with the word hey as opposed to hi. The reason behind it is because hey is supposed to be reserved for like friends and family, and if you don't actually know this person, then they may feel like it's pretty informal and it's not really professional. So just to be safe, start your emails with hi. Next, we're going to point out that we really are grateful for them investing the time because doing interviews really is time consuming. And for those of you who have to do interviews at your companies, you know that one interview really comes out to about 2 to 3 hours worth of work. So you might as well call that out and just be really honest about it. In the next part of your email, you're definitely going to want to show them your excitement, but explain to them why you are excited. So you're going to want to recall something that the interviewer had mentioned during the interview that is something that you're genuinely excited about. This can be about the role itself, or maybe about the company or the product or the team, or maybe just the potential of working with them as your manager or colleague. By mentioning something specific from your actual interview, it's going to personalize this email so they know that you're not just using a simple copy and paste template. Next, you're going to see I have an optional section here in the email template where you can use this if you feel like you missed a question, you skipped a question, or something really went wrong during your interview. You're going to want to utilize this follow-up email to potentially try and save yourself and turn things around. Some common things that have gone wrong during an interview that I've seen is the first is if you skip a question. The second is if you give the wrong answer to a question. The third is if the interviewer asks you questions about something you actually don't have any experience with. Now, if this does happen, you're going to want to immediately contact your recruiter as soon as the interview is done and let them know that you were asked questions that were not part of your skill set or were not part of the role responsibilities. And it may be an unfair assessment of whether or not you are qualified for this job. But I also want to point out that if you are asked questions and you're wondering why would they ask me this, you are going to want to also double check your resume and make sure that you aren't claiming to have experience in a certain area that you actually don't. I've seen this happen multiple times, especially when it comes to engineering interviews. The fourth thing that can go wrong during an interview is if there was some type of miscommunication or something kind of got mixed up during your interview. For example, maybe your interviewer has a very strong accent and you had a really hard time understanding what question they were asking. So there was some misinterpretation of the question or of certain words. Or, and I've seen this happen, maybe you tried to make a joke during your interview and the interviewer didn't realize you were making a joke and it came across actually as an insult. If any of these happened during your interview, you're also going to want to reach out to your recruiter ASAP and explain the whole situation. Finally, to wrap this email up, you're going to offer the chance for them to contact you again if they have additional questions. Most recruiters probably will not contact you again, so don't worry, you're not signing up for an additional interview. It is just something polite to put at the end of the email. And of course, please do not click send on your email until you have run a spell check. Well, a spell and grammar check, actually. You don't want to come across as someone who is sloppy or lazy. Also, don't email your interviewer more than once after the interview is over. They're just going to find it to be really annoying. And as a bonus tip, if you had to do a technical interview or some type of coding interview and you were given access to a Google Doc or a coding doc during the interview, I do not recommend you go back into that interview doc or the coding doc after the interview is over to change things or to edit some of your mistakes. This is something that really pisses off interviewers, and especially because they know that you missed the question during the interview. When they go back and check the notes and they realize that you've edited it, because they can look at revision history, that's going to be a huge red flag against you. All right, so now you know how to write the perfect thank you email at the end of your interviews. Put a comment down below if this actually helped you get any job offers. And make sure you click subscribe down below because I post weekly career videos just like this. And go ahead and share this video with a friend if you think that they could find this helpful.